Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. Today we're going to be filming my very first what I read of the year, which is what I read in January and February. I have had quite a good 2 months, if you might say. I have read 9 books in the last 2 months, 4 in January and 5 in February. And pretty much all of them have been fantasy. I've had a great time the last 2 months with reading because I was thinking about last year when I filmed my first what I read video on here, and in January and February I think I'd read like 4 books and a lot of them were quite lowly rated. I've had quite a few 5 stars actually. I set myself, as you know, a TBR for February, and I've just, other than that, tried to mood read and just pick up what I felt like. I've been super into fantasy the last couple months. So without further ado, we are going to get into the books that I have read. I am filming this a little bit early. It is currently the 24th of February, but I go on holiday this Friday, so that will be February the 27th, and I want to film, edit and upload this video before I go away so I don't have to worry about it then. The first book of the year that I read was Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. This was something that I just picked up in the bookstore earlier this year, and oh my goodness, 6 stars. 6 stars, not even 5, 6 stars as our first read of the year. This was absolutely incredible. This was almost like going into a dictionary, flipping to the page that says magic, and this book is right under the description of the word magic, because honestly this was so fun, so whimsical, so adventurous and exciting. It was just it was a big surprise. I have read Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber and DNF'd. I have read something else by her, I don't know what, but this, goodness me, like even those little details, this is not a spoiler by the way, of like the hotel. So this hotel you have to have a special pass to. When you're there, every hour that passes in the real world, I think less time essentially passes there. So you can go there to like hide, and time is slower there, so you can kind of hide there for longer. But this book's basically about a folklore class that is taught by this professor who is kind of a bit more under the radar, shall we say. And this girl goes to her classes, she loves them, she finds them fascinating, and she completely believes in them. So this one day, this story about the watchman comes up, and if you phone the watchman, he will tell you what time you're going to die. So she does that with a man that she's seeing, and he's like, yeah, you're going to die tomorrow, or like, you're going to die in 24 hours. You have to find the alchemical heart to survive. And there's this magical bank as well, and there's these 2 men that are supposedly sent by her sister, but obviously only one of them can be sent, so one of them is lying. There's romance, there's who is lying, who is not. We're trying to find, we're under a time pressure to try and find this alchemical heart. It's so good, like so insanely good. It's 300 pages. I read it in like 2 or 3 days. And oh my goodness, I am so excited for the second one that's coming out, especially with that ending. Could not recommend this enough. Next book I read was actually an audiobook, which was Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. And I love an Abby Jimenez audiobook. I listen to them in the shower, typically when I'm doing an everything shower or when I'm washing my hair, because I'm in there for a good like 30-45 minutes, so it's good audiobook listening time. They're just so good. The narrators as well that she chooses just narrate it so well, and it really strikes a chord with me. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I cried to this book. The 3rd act breakup was what got me. It's what made me cry. I rarely cry to books. I never cry to audiobooks. So the fact that the writing combined with the narrators made me cry really says something. But it made me emotional when I started crying, and I was like, okay, I think I need to take a break. My heart is still with Just for the Summer. This one was still really, really good. It's just such a whole well-rounded story, written really well. The characters have so much depth to them. I feel like I'm reading someone's real life. So also 5 stars. Then go into Daughter of No World by Carissa Broadbent. This also was not on my TBR, but I was hanging out with my friends for Christmas before, so in December, and one of my friends bought this in Waterstones for a whopping £22. And then I was in Tesco and I seen this on sale for £8.60. Are you kidding? This has been on my want to read list for genuinely about 3 years now. I have wanted to read this for so long, and I was like, you know what? It's on offer. I am just going to pick it up. I'm not going to lie, I don't love these covers as much as I love the old ones, but oh my God. I was not expecting but another freaking 5 star. I'm just handing them out, but honestly, this also truly deserved it. I filmed a reading vlog where I was reading this book, so you'll have to check out my channel at some point. It should be coming soon, but I've yet to edit it, so we shall see. The first half really kind of, not caught me off guard, but really threw me off a bit because it's very slow. I think the way this is described, even like this little bit on the back with a former slave fighting for justice, a reclusive warrior who no longer believes it exists, and a dark magic that will entangle their fates. It sounds so fantasy and so epic, and I went into it expecting that, but the first half is generally about her going to this like academy. It's not an academy. She goes to this organisation called the Orders, because she wants to save her people, essentially. They're like, yeah, you need to get an apprenticeship, so you're going to have to spend years getting taught as an apprentice. He's like, yeah, no, I don't have time for that. So they're like, okay, we can give you 6 months and then you can do the trials. But the first half of this book is very mundane. It's very much her and her mentor, and she's just learning stuff in this little cottage away from everyone and everything. So it wasn't what I expected, and in a lot of cases, like 99 out of 100 cases, I'd get bored and I'd DNF, or I'd think, why is this not what it was described in the blurb? But the writing carried so much. Like, I genuinely felt like I'd sit, read anything if it was written like this, in this kind of language, in this kind of layout. I don't know what it was about the writing, but I could just sit and read it all day long, every day, no matter what they were doing. She could be growing flowers and deeply in-depth explaining to us her putting every seed into soil and covering it over, and I would still enjoy it because the writing was just so good. But then the second half is where it really picks up, and I really love the premise of this dark magic, shall we say. I don't think I've ever seen that in fantasy before. It was just incredible. And the romance completely caught me off guard with how tender it was. I really think that is the best way to describe it. It's a slow burn and it just feels so tender and natural and beautiful and gradual. It really does make this book as well. Honestly, 5 star. I can see myself rereading this in the future. We then finish off the month of January with When in Rome by Sarah Adams. Again, I was trying to go along the line of, okay, I've read a few fantasy books now, so I thought I need to cleanse with another little romance. I read this and I think I got 100 pages in and I had to switch to audiobook and drag myself through it. For some reason, I thought it was going to get better. But to be perfectly honest, I should have DNF'd. I did not enjoy this. This was the most basic, boring thing I've read. And I am so upset to say that because I love Sarah Adams. I'm a massive Sarah Adams fan. The cheat sheet, incredible. The rule book, 5 stars. But this, 2 stars. And that's being generous because it's Sarah Adams and I love her, even though this was trash. Why has no one talked about that? This is part of a series of standalones, I believe. I do have Practice Makes Perfect on my shelf, which I'm now very scared to go into. I was fully expecting a cutesy little romance. I was not expecting a boring, mundane, reality TV kind of level, trashy book. So I did force myself through this with the audiobook. I put it on a very high speed so that I could get through it. But I should have DNF'd. I would not recommend this. And I'm going to be unhauling, so go check out my Vinted. if you want it. We then move into February, and this is where I set my TBR for the month, and I completed it. Woo! So I have read 5 books, but there's like 6 in total for me to talk about, if that makes sense. The next book I went into after When in Rome was in fact the second book to Daughter of No Worlds, which is Children of Fallen Gods. I am so very disappointed to say that this ended up being a 2-star for me. Again, this is a very unexpected series. Did not expect 5-star in the first one. Even less so did I expect a 2-star in this one. This was just so drawn out. I feel like this could have been 200 pages less than what it actually was, at the very least. I just feel like every 5 seconds, and I don't feel like this is a spoiler, but someone was dying and then coming back to life, or almost dying and then being fine, or dying and coming back to life. It felt like every character went through that. Every plot kind of hole that could be done in the world of fantasy writing was crammed into this. I was just so freaking bored. I am sick to death of seeing Nora, or whatever her blimmin' name is. Nura, I think. Ugh. I am not grown enough for her to be that involved. The plot twist towards the end of finding something out, shall we say, was really good. Did not see it coming. I spent most of this book being confused as to who this second POV was, of this Eve person. It was just very long-winded, very war and political heavy, and I don't think I'm used to that. But even so, even with that, I just feel like it could have been so much shorter, and it feels like the end was just so drawn out. It really did bring the star rating down. That was what really impacted it. I'm just not grown enough for Max to be going and seeing this Nura and talking to her and having conversations with her and being like, oh, I remember when she was like this when we were together. Like, bro, you literally are in love with Tasana, as you have said. Why are you still talking to this Nura? Why are we still having conversations? Why are you stood there thinking of your relationship when you have a relationship with another woman? Ugh. No, I just couldn't do it. I'm really disappointed because other than listening to the audiobook of When in Rome, I literally put Daughter of No Worlds down and picked up my Kindle to begin this one. I said to myself, I'm not going to read the third one. I'm not interested, although I can already see it happening where it's going to come out and I'm going to read it. 2 stars. I have nothing else to say. I then picked up the third book in the Flesh and Bone trilogy by Harper L. Woods. And I'm not going to lie to you, I read 40 pages of it. And I was like, you know what? I just don't think this is for me. I read books 1 and 2 of that series 3 years ago. I had a look on my Goodreads because I was curious as to when I did read it. And I was shocked. But I really enjoyed them when I first read them. But I think I'm just not in the mood for smut at the moment. I was skipping the smut scenes in the Daughter of No Worlds series, and I just think I've outgrown it a little bit. I picked it up and I was reading it. I just wasn't in the mood. Couldn't remember who 2 of the side characters were, and I am not about to put time into rereading the first 2 just to be able to know. So I did DNF, a soft DNF, and I'm just going to be getting rid of it. I just feel like it wasn't for me. The next book we have is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. This is one of those ones that has been sneaky and sat on my TBR for some time, and I've been looking at it and thinking, I think the biggest thing was the fact that it's described as a gothic, romantic, fantasy. And I just wasn't sure what gothic meant, and I wasn't sure that I'd like it. So I've kind of avoided it for some time. It came up in my February TBR video, and it was 5 stars. I am insulted and I am appalled because why has no one told me how good this book was? The plot, the characters, the mystery, the murder solving, the supernatural spirit element to it. Oh, I was stunned. Death and how sexy he is. Oh. I remember I sat down one day and I was 82 pages in and I was just breezing through it. And I was 200 pages in or 250 pages in before I even knew it. I read most of this book in one day. There was enough going on to entertain my brain perfectly and give me that escapism that we all search for in books, but not so much that I was like, wait, what's just happened? Who's just said that? That was not a thing. It was just the perfect amount of everything. But it's so entertaining and such a thrill to read. So good. I then read the rest of the Daughter of the Pirate Queen trilogy. I don't actually know what it's called, but we have Daughter of the Siren Queen and Vengeance of the Pirate Queen. This one was 4-star and this one was 5-star. We follow Alosa and Raiden in this book, but then we have a different FMC in this one. We follow Surinder and Kieran in this book, and both of these were just so good. I am slumping from this series because of how good it is. All 3 books are around 300 pages. The writing is so fast-paced and easy to digest. It's YA, so it's obviously kind of a given, but it's so easy to read in that sense. I honestly think that I could have just sat down if I had the time and read both of these in one day each because they were just so good. I wanted to pick them up. I was sad when I wasn't reading them. They're such a thrill. This whole series is, think pirates and voyages on the ocean, and we're traveling to find certain things, and we've got betrayals of family, and so Alosa, our main character in the first 2, has a siren mother and a pirate king father. She's such a strong FMC. She is my favourite FMC I've ever read. She's so smart and strong and capable, and in the face of issues and problems, she is in a bit of a whirlwind. She's like, oh my goodness, I can't deal with this. She's like, there's so much going on, I don't know what to do. And then she's like, you know what, no, it's fine. And she looks at her crew and she's like, I've got this, and I have a reason to think of a solution to this. And then she just does it. And it's no rescuing by a MMC. The romance is such a small part of it. It's so unnecessary to the story, yet still obviously appreciated. Even though I rated the second one 4 stars and not 5, it is a 5-star series for me, and I honestly love this, and I'm definitely going to reread this in the future and tab it. If you read any of the books you see in this video, go read this series. We are then finishing off the month of February with Foxglove, which is the second book to Belladonna. I am 170 pages into it at the moment, so I'm not even halfway, so I'm obviously not going to give my opinion on it yet too soon. I've definitely enjoyed Belladonna more than this one. I thought this one would be more exciting because we have more at stake now. We're still solving a murder, there's still mystery. I'm definitely going to have to see how a certain trope goes, should we say. I don't want to spoil it, but I have to see how it goes. But the aim is to finish this before I go on holiday. I don't know how I feel about this book yet. I couldn't even give you my opinion on it, even if I wanted to. So that is every book that I have read in January and February. I honestly found some real gems, and I've been loving my fantasy books at the moment. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave, and leave any comments in the comments section down below to give me your opinion, maybe recommend me some books based on the 5 stars that I've given in this video, and I shall see you for the next one. Bye guys!